Hello, yes, it's Joe here for Joyrider TV, and yes, you're watching Show Us Your Cat. Woohoo! Yes, that's right, it's Joe here for Joyrider TV with Show Us Your Cat, where we're going to be going around the world, taking a look at your boats and where it is that you sail them. Today we are in for an absolute classic, so strap in for a wild ride. I'm coming to you today from Wild Wind on the Greek island of Lefkos. We are right in the middle of the winter at the moment, and we are under lockdown as well, so not a lot of sailing going on at the moment, but we are definitely looking forward to the approaching summer, which is going to be with us before we know it. But for now, let's jump in and take a look at what we're looking at in this week's Show Us Your Cat on Joyrider TV. Oh yeah. Okay, so we're starting off this week by heading back to Berlin, Germany. This time to Templiner See, near to Potsdam, where we have Jan Leo and Konstantin. We did actually feature Jan Leo 2 weeks ago with his Dart 18, but here we're looking at where it all began. So back in 2004, Jan Leo and Konstantin had their first catamaran sailing experience with this Topcat K2, along with another friend of theirs, Benjamin. They hired the cat. They were just 18 years old with no prior cat experience. Although Jan Leo used to sail Optimists when he was young, this was definitely going into the deep end. He's on the helm here after having just a few tips from Konstantin. They didn't have any trapeze harnesses. They just held on to the trapeze wires, but had a lot of fun and managed not to capsize. This was the sail that really sowed the seed of possibility leading on to the next boat that we're going to see, as well as Jan Leo's Dart 18 that we saw 2 weeks ago on Show Us Your Cat. So the next boat that Konstantin got hold of was this Tornado, which actually belongs to his neighbour known as Big E, but he doesn't sail it anymore because he's knocking on a bit, apparently. The Tornado is at Marina Fürch, which is at the southern end of Schweilowsee, which is just to the south of Potsdam. Doesn't know the age of the boat, but most of the equipment appears to be original, and it's really nice to see a classic Tornado in action, so thanks for that. Now the videos that we're looking at are from the second or third time they took the boat out in the beginning of June this year, joined by Jan Leo's girlfriend Ronja, clearly enjoying the ride a lot. First time on a sailing boat, and the guys took her at 19 knots. If you're wondering about the lack of buoyancy aids here, this is back when the guys were young and foolish. I'm reliably informed now that they always wear buoyancy aids, and so should you. Now on this sail they decided to return back to base on Ronja's request. Konstantin and Jan Leo went out shortly afterwards and almost immediately capsized, so definitely a good decision there from Ronja to get back in. Since the Schweilowsee is quite shallow, the Tornado's mast doesn't float and got stuck in the sand underwater. The wind kept blowing onto the trampoline, pushing the boat towards the mast tip, and the two guys weren't able to unstick the boat. Fortunately, a fisherman came by with his 3.5 horsepower motor and rescued them, but it took quite a while to get the boat righted. Unfortunately, the camera wasn't rolling on this occasion. What I think we can all learn there is, if you've got a camera on the boat, always have it recording, because you never know what solid gold footage is coming next. Jan Leo would like to very much thank Constantine for introducing him to cat sailing. Without him, he wouldn't even have a boat right now. And here, just a little fun feature at the end, is a picture and a short clip of Show Us Your Dog, would you believe. This is Vince on a stand-up paddleboard. Vince actually used to be a Greek dog from Greece before Ronya adopted him 5 years ago. What a lucky boy. Thanks very much there for sending us those pictures and video of the Tornado and the Top Cat, and of course of Vince. So next on Show Us Your Cat this week, we are heading to Japan, to Okinawa, where we have Keith. Keith's had a trilogy of Hobie 14s. We're going to start off with the first one, which he called Mellow Yellow, as originally it had yellow hulls, but then these yellow hulls had been repainted by the previous owner in blue. The yellow sail you can see there is not an original Hobie sail, and it's cut a little bit shorter, which did lead to the battens sticking out a fair bit. But Keith didn't cut the battens, as he still wanted to be able to use the battens in the original sail. Very good idea. He kept the boat at the back of a beach where his friend has a holiday house, where he's able to keep the mast up all year round, and he can be on the water within 15 minutes of arriving. He made a pair of beach wheels out of some fishing floats that he'd found washed up. They kind of worked, but were very hard work, and he did eventually get some proper cat tracks, realised that it would have been a good idea just to have got them from the start. In this lagoon, he's got about 1.5 miles to the reef, so there's plenty of room to really stretch his legs and give it some juice, though he does have to be quite careful on the coral heads on the lower tides. But I think you'll agree this really does look like a sailor's paradise. Who'd have thought it? Outside the reef there can be some pretty decent swells rolling in, but on reasonable days Keith would venture out to nearby islands for a bit of an adventure. Nice. Sailing's not so popular around Okinawa, but once or twice a year those that do sail in the area all meet up for a fun regatta. Unfortunately, the hulls of Mellow Yellow started some serious delamination, which was looking pretty terminal, so Keith had to look for some replacement hulls. Now in 2018 it turned out that one of Keith's daughter's teachers from school actually was the owner of a Hobie 14 which had been abandoned by a nearby hotel, and he was willing to give Keith this 14, wait for it, for free. That's the price that we're looking for. The hulls were rock solid and all the parts were there. Had a plain white sail, but in much better condition and better shape than the old Mellow Yellow sail. And having looked at the serial numbers on the hulls, you could identify it as a 1991 boat. What a great find. He put it together and had the hull flying on the maiden voyage, and the whole boat immediately felt faster, stiffer and more positive than the old 14. It had a dolphin striker, which the first 14 didn't have, and it felt good to be able to go out with the confidence that the boat was going to hold together. So now Keith keeps the boat on a local beach just 5 minutes from his house, where one of his friend's fathers lives. Very convenient indeed. Keith's made some covers for the hulls. He puts the excessive UV as one of the contributing factors to the delamination of the original hulls. A little later on, a good friend of Keith's, Tom's boat, is a handmade outrigger sailing canoe modelled on all sorts of boats sailed around the Pacific Islands. While sailing, he tows a few fishing lures out behind the boat, and that is when Keith got the idea to start doing a bit of fishing, as Tom was pulling in some fairly juicy looking tuna. Who'd have thought it, but Keith became a bit of a fishing enthusiast, invested in a few trolling setups, lashed some PVC pipe to the lacing by the rear pylons as rod holders, and started trolling lures whenever going out. He's caught a lot of tuna, yellowfin, bluefin, big eye, wahoo and mahi-mahi, otherwise known as dorado. It's always a nice bonus when you come back in from a sail to have something for dinner on the table. When he goes fishing, he just puts his cat head to wind, drops the mainsail, and then he can concentrate on landing the fish. It's a really good stable platform to do that on. The best he's caught so far is a 14 kilo wahoo. Oh yeah, that is some amazing fishing. Best we've seen, in fact. Back in December, there's the whale season down off Okinawa, and they sometimes have humpback whales coming into the bay on their return journey from their winter breeding grounds. And Keith's been lucky enough to see them a few times, including this time on this close encounter. More recently, Keith has acquired a newer mainsail for his 14. He really got lucky this time and picked up another Hobie 14 for just $200. The hulls were absolutely ruined, but everything else was in good shape. So very nice to have a boat's worth of spare parts and those great sails. So thanks very much, Keith, for sending in those pictures and videos of your Hobie 14s and this truly magnificent sailing area that you've got to play in. It really does look like a beautiful place to go sailing. And keep up the good fishing. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's right. What a selection. The Tornado and the 14s this week in Show Us Your Cat. So if you would like to be featured in an upcoming episode of Show Us Your Cat, it's very straightforward. All that you need to do is send me some pictures or video or both of your boat and where you sail your boat. Give us some information, who you go sailing with, what you like to do with your boat. Perhaps you've caught a bigger fish than Keith on your boat, so do let us know. Then you could be featured in an upcoming episode of Show Us Your Cat. Exciting times. We've also, of course, got the brand new speed stick that's just started. We've still actually only got 2 boats on the speed stick as it stands. So there's never been a better time to get out and give it the juice, get on the speed stick. Other than that, I'd just like to thank everybody who's been supporting the channel. Everybody who's been supporting the channel through Patreon. It's a great way of just showing your support for all of the good work that I'm doing with Joyrider TV. There is a huge library of very informative videos already on YouTube for you to look at. Check out the link to the index below. Thanks to everybody who's been shopping at totaljoyrider.com And thanks just to everybody who's been watching the videos. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and I'll be back on Wednesday with some more Q&A. So come along to that with your most challenging questions, and I will do my best to answer them. If you can't actually make it to the Q&A session, send me an email with a question. Just put the title of the email as question for Q&A, and I will answer it at the start of the Q&A session, so you'll have a good answer there. If you can't make it, you'll be able to watch it later on. Thanks very much. Back next Sunday with more Show Us Your Cat on Joyrider TV.